President Trump says he is giving Hamas a chance to honor the peace deal. Watch.
We're forging peace all over the world. We're putting America first. We're getting everybody to sort of get along. And I just got a call from the Middle East. We're doing very well there. We have many countries, as you know, signed on to peace in the Middle East, and nobody thought they'd ever see that happening. The Hamas situation, where they're pretty violent people, I would say, that we could put that out in 2 minutes. We're giving them a chance.
Kentucky Senator Rand Paul joins us this morning. Mr. Senator, I don't think you much care for foreign entanglements. So what should our position be in the Mideast?
You know, I think the president's done a great job on this, and this is an example of his force of character, his bearing that has brought together two sides here. I hope the ceasefire does hold, and I think it's a big achievement. I think it builds on the achievement of Trump's first administration with the Abraham Accords, which I think were sort of the foundation for getting several of these Arab countries involved in the peace process.
Okay, let's move on to this one. The meeting between President Trump and Putin is on hold. Here's what Trump had to say about that. Roll it.
I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time, so I'll see what happens. But we did all of these great deals, and you pull back and you go home and everybody takes some time off because you got two countries that are killing each other. Two countries are losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week. So we'll see what happens. We haven't made a determination.
Mr. Senator, again, you don't really care much for foreign entanglements. So what should we be doing in Ukraine?
Well, I think if you try to look at the bright side of this situation, there are a couple of developments that do look promising. One, Zelensky has now admitted that a ceasefire would be a ceasefire in place with the land occupied by either army. And that's a step forward. The proposals in the past by Zelensky have been, we'll have a peace talks, but after Russia leaves Ukraine. And so I think it's a much more realistic approach. It's not necessarily desirable from the Ukraine's perspective, but the fact that there would be a ceasefire with land occupied as is, still in dispute, but with the land occupied by Russia, I think is a step forward. I think President Trump and the Trump administration has also signaled that they would accept that. Russia has not yet, but actually from the perspective of Russia, that's also losing a lot of soldiers, to have a ceasefire with their troops in place and with the land occupied, I think should be seen as a success from their point of view. So I'm still hopeful that the peace talks will move forward.
Okay. Here's another foreign entanglement. The president has authorized blowing up, I think it's 7 suspected drug boats. You say this, quote, goes against all of our traditions. So are you condemning the drug boat strikes?
Well, you have to use a different word that was left out in this question. The word would be alleged, because if we knew there were drug dealers, we'd know their names, we'd have evidence. And one of the interesting things is one of the recent explosions, a bunch of the people on the boats died, but 2 people survived. Did we detain them and check them for drugs or drug residue? Did we gather the evidence from the wreckage and then prosecute them? No, we just said, oh, well, we're going to send you back to your country. So I really think that you cannot have a policy where you just allege that someone is guilty of something and then kill them. The reason being that we interdict ships all the time off the coast of Miami, off the coast of California, and the Coast Guard statistics say that about 25% of the boats that we stop to search don't have any drugs. So if 1 out of 4 of the boats don't have drugs on them, you know, what kind of person would justify blowing up people when 1 out of 4 boats may well not have drugs on them?
So don't do it again. Is that the message?
Well, what the message is that, and this has been fought in the Senate, will be fought again next week, is you do get to kill people when you're at war. So if we are to be at war, the Constitution says Congress has to vote for a declaration of war. I'm not for declaring war with Venezuela. I despise socialism, communism, authoritarianism, but I'm not in favor of starting a war with Venezuela. If you have a war, you can kill the enemy. If you don't have a war, you have international crime, and you have to treat it as such. And really, the seas, even in international waters, there have been rules of engagements for over a century, and they don't involve blowing people up without first asking them if they will allow to be boarded to be searched.
Okay. One more for you, sir. Yesterday, Trump hosted a lunch for your Senate colleagues, Republicans in the Senate. It was held at the White House. You didn't attend. So tell us what you think should be done about the shutdown, because that's what the lunch was all about, the shutdown. What do you want to see done?
Well, I didn't attend because I wasn't invited. It wasn't that I chose not to attend. I was not invited. But I would say this, the good news is when you think you're being effective as far as promoting messages of balanced budgets and less spending, the fact that they were still talking about me, even though I wasn't there, means that I am having some effect. But there are two proposals before us, a Republican proposal, which would add $2 trillion to the debt next year, and a Democrat proposal, which would add $3 trillion to the debt. I say none of the above on that. I've offered something, an alternative called the penny plan, which would balance the budget over 5 years, and I think that's what we ought to do.
Got it. Senator Rand Paul, always good to have you on the show. It's a different perspective, and we appreciate that. Thanks very much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.